Well, good morning. It is 6:14:51 seconds, soon to be 6:15 and 8, 9, 6:15. That clock's a little slow up there on the wall, but by about 30 seconds, but that's what time it is. And it's the 21st of January. It says the temperature is 71 in here, which means it's about 73, 74. And Monica's going to be steaming up there because she's going through menopause and she's got the hot flashes and things. And that AC on the roof, the central AC, will pump all the air conditioning and all of the heat into the two upstairs bedrooms, and they'll get hot as heck before it finally cools off a little bit and heats a little bit down here. So I got a call in for that knuckleheaded maintenance man, the guy named Nick. He's not very communicative. He's not very, he's a maintenance man. He ain't like Frank. He used to be here with Tonti. Many years ago. I've been in this place since 2011. It is now 2026. So not quite 15 years, close to it, because I came in June. It's still a few months away before it's going to be 15 years. If you don't mind, I got my incense. It is meditation time. And like Babaji up there, I am learning how to use my pipe. And that brings up my father, who I met yesterday for the first time since he died in 1979, right in front of me, right in my arms, literally. Dad, I've watched you go. And I didn't know you were watching after me ever since. Archangel Michael was there with you and with my mother, who came through first. And I was so surprised and so happy that you came through, Dad, because, you know, I was clinging on to you while you slept. As a little boy, my mother used to have to sleepwalk me back to my room because I was in her room when she got up to go to bed. She was in the old double bed there in the front room at Glenwood Street. And she used to, it was a regular thing. I'd be falling asleep, holding on to my father. So I never got all the whatever it was I needed from you. But I got plenty. You're the one who taught me how to smoke a pipe. If it gets too hot to put right here, you said, you're smoking the pipe wrong. And you're the one who, I remember from when you were talking to other adults, and I was supposed to not say a word unless I don't speak unless you're spoken to, son. You'd say when we were going out on a deer drive up at Stallworth. Driving up there took about an hour and a half to get there because it was up in mid-level Alabama, somewhere south of Montgomery. God, those things scared me, man. All those men with shotguns getting dropped off along a dirt road somewhere. And then I had a stand by myself when I was 12 years old. I was so proud because that meant I was a man. And my brother got his face bloodied in the ritual after he shot his first deer. A lot of guys got their shirt tails cut when they would, at the end of the day, at night, they would dress all the deer that got shot, and everybody got to take home some venison, including us. We never got any deer. I didn't. One time I could have fired was at a hog that was skedaddling from those drivers. They'd just be beating pots, and you hear them way off in the distance, driving the animals right into that line of hunters. We didn't stalk. We didn't have a tree stand. That was just, it was a deer drive, man. And they'd shoot about, I don't know, 10 or 15 whitetail bucks. You know, they had to be bucks. It was not doe season then. It was bucks only. And so Tripp got his first deer in ahead of me, because he was 6 years older, 7 years older or something. He died a few years ago in Africa, where he expelled himself to, really. So you just couldn't deal with the family. He was always a loner. He was always my hero, Tripp. He was the first liberal Democrat at Davidson College, where he had a full run, and he went to seminary at Emory, and was, instead of becoming a Methodist minister, which is what he was being trained for, he joined the outfit called the Ecumenical Institute out of Chicago, which was a liberal, how to say, evangelical, but they weren't evangelical. They were the opposite of evangelical. They were just total liberal. And Tripp lived in Pace, Mississippi. They were sent to these outposts, you know. And Pace, Mississippi is about as far of an outpost as you can get to. It's still in the United States. Then they went to France. Then they went to Kenya, where Tripp and Sandy got a divorce, and Allison stayed on with Tripp in Kenya. Bless her heart, Allison, who I wrote the book Louie for. That first copy went to her. And she was my niece. She was the only first grandchildren that my parents had. And they knew her as a granddaughter. So that was good. They got to see one. Didn't get to see Christian, who was born in 1991, and my mother died in my father died in 79, my mother died in 1986. After getting me she was the dean of student services at College of Education in University of South Alabama for the last 25 years of her life. And she always worked. She was quite something, my mother. She was a beauty. I show you pictures, and she looks like Grace Kelly. I'm telling you, she really does. But I never knew her in those big beauty days. I knew her in her old age. You know, Mom, when you came through, you told me these words: you are one. You are one with God. Not will be, you are one with God. Stop living your old story. Those were the messages that you've been wanting to tell me for 30 years, since you died, more than 30. And Dad, I remember you saying to Mr. Newbern and some of the other adults, you know, I remember one time you said, and I remember this because it was a little naughty. You said, no matter how you shake and dance, the last drop goes down your pants. I think of that all the time. And how you used to, you employed me for $1.60 an hour to work at Eckerd's, where you got demoted to store manager from being vice president of Albright and Woods Drugstores, Inc. 5-state chain of drugstores run by Uncle Roy Albright. Gave me my middle name. Came from my grandmother's, my Clarks of Mississippi, from my mother, and the Albrights of North Carolina, and where we were. Johnny got our genealogy done, and he said, "Man, we are white. There isn't even a stray. We're all from. We're from Wales, Castle Madoc, named perhaps coincidentally for the discoverer of America, Madoc. It's said he landed right at the Alabama River. I don't know, but that was the name of the villa, the William Opp Howell. So we were first called the Howells of Howell, Opp Howell. Then we became Powell. And my mother, I said, "Mama, I just realized that, Pops, Charles Frank Powell Sr., he became when he had my father, who was named Charles Frank Powell Jr. They all went by Frank, which is a great name. Means being frank, being honest, being sincere. I like that name. My brother Trip, they call him Triple, because he was Charles Frank Powell III. And then Johnny, well, there are not going to be any children through Johnny unless he adopts. Johnny is gay from the very beginning, and he's had a big chip on his shoulder his whole life because of how he was treated in Mobile. He says it's not a place to grow up gay, but that's just Johnny's nature. I mean, a lot of people. Bob Merriweather was gay in Mobile, and he was the most popular man around. Got a picture of Bob over here, but anyway, I need to have Bob up here with my teachers. I'm going to put that picture up there. Yeah, that's going up there. Merriweather, you were the greatest, man. So I actually intercommuned not only with my masters, as I've been doing since April the 10th, 2025, when I woke up with that dream and my life changed. I am not the same as I used to be. And it didn't happen until I was 74. I was already 74. I turned 74 on the 1st of November, right shortly, a couple hours after Halloween was over. So All Hallows Day, All Souls Day. So I always thought that was auspicious, 1151, 11151, 110151. Anyway, ones and fives, always like those. So this is one of my mini pipes, and Big Papa Pipe is over there. It was given me by Walks in Two Worlds. That was his Indian name. I knew him as Perry. But he didn't make it. He had a friend who made it from the redstone of the Black Hills. Made the mother, the pipe head, And the father, this stem, which is about that long, it's got a deer antler hollowed out to be the mouthpiece. And I asked him to make it from a lightning struck tree. Well, it's whatever they used, it's two pieces of wood put together, glued real hard, so that you got a steady, it's a bit about that long, peace pipe, they call them in the Westerns. Little big man, old lodgeskins. He says, I would like to smoke with him. That's when he met somebody. Because when you smoke with somebody, they're no longer just an acquaintance. They become a brother. Don't have friends, just have brothers. And then people I hadn't met yet. Some people don't want to have anything to do with me. A lot of people don't want to have anything to So I'm having to break the rules a little bit. And I hate to have to do it with Tracy, but if I tell her, she's got to say, no, Monica can't spend the night here. After a day of pure hell yesterday dealing with Cox Mobile, Cox Internet, and Cox Television, which I bundled to get the best deal, mobile deal I could ever get, $15 a month for 1 gig data, which I don't use because I'm always on the Wi-Fi. So I don't use my phone data. Somehow, they say I owe them $588.64 for my cell phone. Now, how you get to $500, even if I missed a couple of payments, what would that be, $30? How do you get to $588? Well, yesterday my phone was hijacked by Comcast because every outbound call I made, no matter what number I picked, it all got routed to the Cox Cable billing department, who were utterly hopeless. I talked to somebody, what was her name, in El Salvador, and another one in Honduras, and another in Mumbai. And so I've been to all of those places, and so I start speaking Spanish as best I can. Not very well, but I can get by. And I start talking to, for my time in India, and make human friends with these people first. I really want to learn their name. Huevo from El Salvador, I think. No, the girl was from El Salvador. Anyway, not important. I was on the phone for 4 hours, and the call would drop, and I'd have to start over with the very first representative who would switch me to the billing department, who would switch me to the mobile billing department, and I'd have to go through the whole explanation all over again with a new representative. And sometimes the call would drop. I'd have to start the whole process over again. And that means taking pictures of my license, which is expired, an Alabama license. I've lived here all this time, never bothered to get a license because, the Alabama license did fine. So I just avoided the DMV with a passion. Although DMV turns out, boom, they get you in and out real fast. So I can't go to ABC Title to get a real scary fast, they call it, driver's license. But I don't really need a driver's, because I've never had a Louisiana license before. So I've got to take this, which is my original birth certificate from the state of Alabama. I don't know why it's backwards on the screen. And this is a Humana thing with my address. This is a PNC Bank thing with my address, unopened, and a Social Security. So with these, including the birth certificate and an expired passport, boom, I say, okay, give me this license. And if I don't have to take a driving test and it's not a whole lot of cost, I'm going to get a driver's license just to have that. Even though I don't have a car anymore, maybe one day I will. Or I can always go back and upgrade the state ID. Anyway, I talked with Christian, and that's the first thing I'm going to do. So once I got ID, then I can open up a new bank account right around the corner. And then if Monica goes with me, as she is, we're leaving in an hour and a half. We're going to be there at 8 o'clock because she got held up at DMV with a big long line. We're going to get there right at 8 o'clock, and she may be able to get her state ID. Hey, Monica. Monica, are you sleeping? Well, she's gone back upstairs to sleep. She's not supposed to be here. We got to lay low because if she gets caught here, I get evicted. You know, and she knows the score now. She's not being bad Monica anymore. She knows it's not Tracy Fortunato's fault. She's the property manager. It's these mysterious group of businessmen who bought this place, and I don't even know what they call them. It's not like Tonti Management. You know who they were. They owned apartment complexes all over the place, the Tonti family. But this group, they call themselves Empire Properties. They call themselves Jeff Rent. You know, you call them to get something fixed, and it may, you know, maybe they'll fix it in 2 weeks. Maybe they won't. You know, it's crazy. Anyway, so that's where I am. I'm going to get my ID. I'm going to get a bank account opened with this and my passport and my necessary documentation. Boom, open up a bank account right here. I won't have to deal with PNC, which I have dealt with simply because I was just too lazy and too depressed to get up and open up a normal bank account in the city where I never felt like I lived or it was my home, because my heart is in Mobile. But now I'm broadening the definition of home. 21:51. That's how many minutes and seconds I'm at. I'm steady talking. I should be meditating, but I'm taking a time out to do this. Let me adjust that because I want to see Masters. And then there's Chari. They're not in order. Lala, you should be up there. Chari should be down here. Maybe I'll change that when I put Mother's picture up there. Okay, we'll see. And I got my little thing here, and I got one right over there. See, there's my desk, and everything here has a place. It's kind of an OCD thing, but that is really, yeah, there we go. That's good. All right. North, south, east, west, Father, Son, Mother, Earth, up through the Willadara, all the way to Sarsara. There's a place for you all in this pipe. And I got a medicine wheel design here.